Before the year of 1981, Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was identified as the 1008th incarnation of Paramashivoham by the spiritual adepts.
आरार्त्रिकम् ॐ ह्रीं एषा दीपमाला सर्वदेवदेवी स्वरूपाय भगवते श्रीनित्यानन्दपरमशिवाय नमः। ॐ राजाधिराजाय प्रसह्यसाहिने नमो वयं वै श्रवणाय कुर्महे समे कामां कामकामाय मह्यं कामेश्वरो वै श्रवणो ददातु कुबेराय वै श्रवणाय महाराजाय नमः। कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। आरार्त्रिकं समर्पयामि भगवच्छ्रीनित्यानन्दपरमशिवचरणकमलेभ्यो नमः। पुष्पाञ्जलिः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। अनेकजन्मसम्प्राप्तकर्मबन्धविदाहिने आत्मज्ञानप्रदान्येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। मन्नाथ श्रीजगन्नाथो मद्गुरो श्रीजगद्गुरुः ममात्मा सर्वभूतात्मा तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि। पुष्पाञ्जलिं समर्पयामि भगवच्छ्रीनित्यानन्दपरमशिवचरणकमलेभ्यो नमः। ॐ नित्यानन्दम्
Swami Jai Jai Nithyananda. Om Jai Nithyananda. Swami Jai Jai Nithyananda. Lokanath Sthidakasho Bhagavan Kalikalmashamagnaanam Nitya Uttarana Chikirshaya. Swami Om Jai Nithyananda. ध्यायन्ति नित्यमभेददृष्ट्या गुरु नित्यानन्दा. स्वामी गुरु नित्यानन्दा. चतुराश्रमधर्मविहीन शान्ता. चतुराश्रमधर्मविहीन शान्ता. ध्यानविधूतचित्ता. Swami Om Jai Nithyananda. Om Jai Nithyananda. Swami Jai Jai Nithyananda. Lokanath Sthidakasho Bhagavan Kalikalmashamagnaanam Nitya Uttarana Chikirshaya. Swami Om Jai Nithyananda. Rajamanaswadhamani Nitya Satguru Nithyananda. Swami Satguru Nithyananda. Divya Deha Samashrita Nitya. Divya Deha Samashrita Nitya. Sarva Dharma Swarupa. Swami Om Jai Nithyananda. Om Jai Nithyananda. Swami Jai Jai Nithyananda. Lokanath Sthidakasho Bhagavan Kalikalmashamagnaanam Nitya Uttarana Chikirshaya. Swami Om Jai Nithyananda. Sarvadharma Pranitaram Nitya Dharmaglani Vinashakam. Swami Dharmaglani Vinashakam. Sadhu Mitra Shiva Nithyanandam. Sadhu Mitra Shiva Nithyanandam. Shantam Namamyaham. Swami Jai Jai Nithyanandam. Om Jai Nithyananda. Swami Jai Jai Nithyananda. Lokanath Bhagavan Kalikalmashamagnaanam Nitya Uttarana Chikirshaya. Swami Om Jai Nithyananda. Koshantarastam Paramarthatvam Swami Satya Nitya Tejo स्वामी जय जय नित्यानंदा ओम जय नित्यानंदा स्वामी जय लोकनाथ श्रीरामशो भगवान कलिकल्पशमनाना नित्या उतारण जिकेशया स्वामी ओम जय नित्यानंदा षडंग योगो नयतः सुसाध्यो सुलभो नयस्मात् गरीयसि ध्यानतः करो स्यात् गरीयसि ध्यानतः करो स्यात् तज्ञापकस्त्वं नित्या स्वामी ओम जय नित्यानंदा ओम जय नित्यानंदा स्वामी जय जय नित्यानंदा लोकनाथ श्रीरामशो भगवान कलिकल्पशमनाना नित्या उतारण जिकेशया स्वामी ओम जय नित्यानंदा ध्यायन्ति गायन्ति नमन्ति नित्यं विष्णु शिवदेवा नित्यं विष्णु शिवदेवा तै प्रार्थितस्तस्य परावतारो तै प्रार्थितस्तस्य परावतारो विभागोधारी नित्या स्वामी ओम जय नित्यानंदा ओम जय नित्यानंदा स्वामी जय जय नित्यानंदा लोकनाथ श्रीरामशो भगवान कलिकल्पशमनाना नित्या उतारण जिकेशया स्वामी ओम जय नित्यानंदा वंदे जगद्बीजमखण्डमेकं सुरसेवितपादपीठं नित्यसेवितपादपीठम् वन्दे भवेशं भवरोगवैद्यं तमेव वन्दे नित्यं स्वामी ओम जय नित्यानंदा ओम जय नित्यानंदा स्वामी जय जय नित्यानंदा लोकनाथ श्रीरामशो भगवान कलिकल्पशमनाना नित्या उतारण जिकेशया स्वामी ओम जय नित्यानंदा ध्यान तृप्ताय नित्या ज्ञानप्रदायिने नित्या आत्मसंस्थाय सत्ताय नित्या आत्मसंस्थाय सत्ताय नित्या शरणगुणशालिने स्वामी ओम जय नित्यानंदा ओम Jai Nithyananda Swami Jai Lokanath Sthita Kacho Bhagavan Kalikalpashana Nitya Uttarana Jikeshaya Swami Om Jai Nithyananda. Sarvadevi Swarupaya Nitya Sarvaswarupine Nitya Sarvadevi Swarupine Virakti Bhakti Nirvalya Nitya Virakti Bhakti Nirvalya Nitya Bhuti Mangalakarine Swami Om Jai Nithyananda Om Jai Nithyananda Swami Jai Lokanath Sthita Kacho Bhagavan Kalikalpashana Nitya Uttarana Jikeshaya Swami Om Jai Nithyananda. Om Jai Nithyananda Swami Jai Lokanath Sthita Kacho Bhagavan Kalikalpashana Nitya Uttarana Jikeshaya Swami Om Jai Nithyananda Om Jai Nithyananda Swami Jai Kacho Bhagavan Kalikalpashana Nitya Uttarana Jikeshaya Swami Om Jai Nithyananda.
जय परमहंस श्री श्री नित्यानंद स्वामी की जय.
Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided Kailasa is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, We have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided Kailasa is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided Kailasa is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided Kailasa is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided Kailasa is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I have decided Kailasa is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, we will be able to bring 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side millions are in the platforms homeless. One side tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I've decided Kailasa is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place and countries, people for whom it's a great boon. In this Chaturmasya alone, 1 crore people out of poverty. Humanity has reached a level, we have evolved enough technology to provide food, clothes, shelter, medical care, all the fundamental basic needs for all 8 billion people. One side the homes foreclosure and the homes are just locked without people. The other side, millions are in the platforms homeless. One side, tons of food is getting wasted and getting destroyed to maintain the price. The other side, millions dying without food. Millions of clothes used only once is dumped into ocean because people don't know what to do with it. I've decided Kailasa is going to pick up a project. I call that project as Ishanya, collecting these things which is getting dumped and wasted, which is in turn becoming hazard for the nature, and distributing it to the place.
Nithyanandam, welcome back to Kailasa's morning show. Introduction to Kailasa, introduction to lifestyle of Kailasa. Now in this segment, we'll be looking at how Hindu gurus have been creating Hindu nations throughout the ages and protecting Hinduism. We'll be looking at why Kailasa, why the Hindu nation of Kailasa. In 1320 CE, a tyrant had captured the entire northern part of the Indian subcontinent and created his empire. He forcibly converted two Hindu brothers, Harihara and Bukkaraya, to his religion. The 12th Jagadguru of Sringeri Sarda Peetham, His Holiness Swami Vidyaranya, reinitiated these two brothers, Harihara and Bukkaraya, and brought them back to Hinduism. Swami Vidyaranya, as their guru, gave them the confidence and guidance to establish the Hindu nation of Vijayanagara Empire. Swami Vidyaranya not only gave them the spiritual guidance, he also presided as the first prime minister of the empire. For 200 years, the Hindu nation of Vijayanagara Empire protected the human rights of the Hindu citizens. The entire southern part of India, all the Hindu temples and the surviving ecosystem, Hindu ecosystems of entire southern part of India is because of the Vijayanagara Empire. Had it not been for the Vijayanagara Empire, today the magnificent temples that we see in the southern India would not have been there. Probably similar to how it is in the northern part of India, we would have much lesser temples, much fewer temples, and a lack of knowledge, and we would have really missed our Hindu civilization. And what we think of Hinduism today, what we know about Hinduism today, we would not have known had Hinduism not been protected by the Vijayanagara Empire during the last 700 years. even after the collapse of Vijayanagara Empire, because for a substantial duration, Hinduism had been protected during this era of invasions. Hinduism survived, and all our Hindu temples and several enlightened civilizations and ecosystems such as Tiruvannamalai, Madurai survived. Similar is the story of the Maratha Empire. Around 6040 CE, Swami Samartha Ramdas, who was a guru of Chhatrapati Shivaji, had been on a decade-long Parivrajacharya Yatra in a pilgrimage wandering. During this time, he saw the devastating famines inflicted by the Mughal Empire. He witnessed the suffering of the people, the Hindus, the indigenous people throughout the subcontinent due to the atrocities inflicted by the terrorist Hindu music forces. It was a dire situation, and Swami Ramdas took the responsibility to end the crisis. He awakened the Hindus and inspired them to build Enlightenment ecosystems, Hindu nations, monasteries. He established more than 1,000 mutts or monasteries, creating Sarvangapithas. Swami Ramdas, as the Guru, gave initiation to Shivaji, and he instructed and gave guidance to Shivaji and Marathas to create a Hindu nation for all persecuted Hindus to protect Hinduism from the then ongoing cultural genocide and religious persecution. And this had a phenomenal impact. And we shall see it now. If you look at Maratha Hindu Empire during the era of the Hindu nations, these are revealed in the contemporary records that were collected during the colonial era when the Hindu nations were invaded. The invaders collected a lot of documentation which have been archived in their libraries and are accessible even today. For example, these records are from the 1700 era, recorded by the various collectors of Madras Presidency and the nearby regions. During the Maratha Hindu Empire, for example, taxes during normal harvest were normal. However, taxes during famine were zero. Farm wages and earnings per day were close to 180 rupees per day as per the time value of money adjusted to the year 2022, which comes close to 5,400 per month. Now, this was published in a British magazine, which carried this data and cited it. Now, looking at the yield for every acre of land in Bengal and Varanasi, it was almost twice to thrice of the same amount of land in the United Kingdom. The result was there was no famine despite less rainfall, no hunger. Food was served for free, as it is a Hindu economic policy that basic needs such as food, medicine, all the survival needs are provided for free in Hinduism. Temples and chatrams, Enlightenment ecosystems offered food and stay for free. These Hindu Enlightenment ecosystems provided free stay to pilgrims, travelers in temples for 3 months. Now, subsequently, after the invasion, taxes increased. During normal harvest, taxes were 3 times higher. During famines, it also remained 3 times higher. Previously, taxes were close to zero. Farm wages and earnings per day became 1/3, almost 60 rupees per day adjusted to the year 2022. Yield for every acre of land halved. The total cultivated area increased, but yield per acre dropped. What was the result? There were 31 famines, even during good rainfall. Almost 33% of the population was wiped off, resulting in death of 29 million Hindus who were starved to death. Temple Anadan stopped. Temple granaries were destroyed. village level food security system was destroyed irreversibly, and till date we have been unable to recover from it. Now let us look at some more statistics. In a book, Contours of the World Economy by Angus Maddison, released in the year 2007, Angus Maddison presents a historical global distribution to the world's GDP by major economies. Before the 18th century, the Hindu nations in the South Asian subcontinent, in India and China, were the two largest economies. It is only during the rule of Hindu emperors like Shivaji that the relative GDP of the Hindu nations rose in the 1,000-year period, which is apparent from this graph. We can see how a very simple what looks like a very simple fact of the matter, that the rule changed to a Hindu nation led by a Hindu guru, who initiated a Hindu king, who guided a Hindu king. With such a small change, which looks a very small change, so much things can change, so many things can change. It is a matter of life and death for 33% of the population of the region. It makes such a huge difference. This is how the Hindu nations had been protecting the people, the indigenous people in South Asia and rest of the world. And this is why the destruction of Hindu nations caused massive genocide, cultural genocide. And that is why Hindu nations need to be protected and Hinduism need to be protected. Now let us look at one more example. Around 320 BC, that is almost like 2300 years ago, Alexander from Greece invaded several Hindu nations of South Asia. It is said Alexander had a vision and determination to conquer the entire world. And Alexander was almost undefeated all the way from Greece in Europe up until the borders of the Hindu nations in the South Asian Indian subcontinent. Chanakya. Chanakya's story is the story of how a simple university lecturer defeated the world's most successful army of his time in something which amazes everyone till date. Chanakya never fought any war, but by pure application of principles of Hinduism through his area of expertise, that is the Shastras, scriptures, he changed history. Chanakya adopted a 10-year-old boy and trained him and made him the king of more than 20 Hindu nations. All these 20 Hindu nations were taken over with almost zero violence. Chanakya employed spies, secret service, diplomacy, and his unbeatable knowledge of Shastras to non-violently inspire people to the need of the hour. The secret of Chanakya's success was that he never compromised on Hindu principles. He was what we would call head of the department, HOD, in the university in political science department. He applied all Hindu principles in politics as per Shastras, unapologetically. He even sent his students as spies in Alexander's army to learn their strategies. As a humble teacher, Chanakya would simply go village to village and, in the guise of begging for arms, convince people to give their sons for his army against Alexander. Chanakya would convince state bureaucracy and ministers to overthrow the Hindu kings who had sided with Alexander, and after that install his student Chandragupta as the king. Till the end of his life, Chanakya never crossed his line. He remained an intellectual warrior, a Hindu scholar. He never accumulated wealth, land, or picked weapons. He never took path of violence. In later part of his life, he served as a prime minister of the Mauryan Empire. Although the prime minister, he lived in a humble hut and never owned any property wealth. Throughout his childhood, he sponsored his education by begging for alms and followed the extreme economic chastity till his death. With next to no violence, he established more than 20 Hindu nations and destroyed the mission of Alexander to invade these nations. His treatise on state administration are still studied even today. As a simple university teacher, Chanakya was merely responsible for teaching his students, who were later appointed through Hindu kingdoms as state bureaucrats and public servants. But this did not stop Chanakya from expanding his responsibility when Hindu nations were invaded. He used the same network of his students to bring a major political change in 20 Hindu nations. Yet he never crossed his line as a simple teacher. At whatever level we are, a school teacher as Chanakya, or a guru, or a student of a guru like the kings who were guided by Swami Vidyaranya and Swami Ramdas, we can manifest and expand our boundaries, making a Hindu nation. And what happens when we create Hindu nations? We just saw how during the time of the Maratha Empire, the Maratha Hindu Empire, the GDP of the Hindu nations suddenly rose. The only time it rose during the 1000 years of history, during its constant decline. It is only during the Hindu kingdoms, during the rule of the Maratha Empire, when Swami Ramdas guided Chhatrapati Shivaji, that the GDP rose. It shows we have a lot to contribute. It is only during the rule of the Hindu nations that there was food security, there was non-violence, religious minorities and communities, indigenous people were protected. It is only during the time of Hindu nations that there was no famine, food was for free, stay was for free. People lived happily, blissfully, progressing towards enlightenment. Surely, there is a lot that we Hindus have to contribute and offer. And we need to remind ourselves of the various contributions our Hindu nations did to human civilization and why we need to continue doing the same by protecting and reviving Hindu nations. Hinduism has a lot to contribute. Let us revisit to some of our past contributions during the last 1000 years. Hinduism has revealed in Vedas and Agamas, and it offers mankind a perfected science for attaining the state, space, and powers of Paramashiva, the Adi Guru of humanity. The open architecture framework of Hinduism reveals the core truths of the self, universe, and divine. It empowers every individual to have freedom to customize their own personalized goals, personalized lifestyle, and personalized spiritual practice as per their needs and disposition. No wonder more than 10,000 sampradayas, 10,000 indigenous religious communities, which would be considered independent religions as per modern definitions. The Hindu nations, with their deep spiritual and knowledge and ecosystem of living the science of enlightenment, protected and coexisted with more than 10,000 sampradayas peacefully. Not just the wealth of the inner world, material abundance without exploitation. Hindu economic policy resulted in Hindu nations becoming the world's wealthiest country. We just saw in the graph how the Hindu nations contributed more than 33% of the global GDP. Taking into account other indigenous civilizations that emulated Hindu economic policy, the number jumps to 60%. Hinduism established a decentralized republic system of governance that emphasized democratic principles and self-rule at the local village level. Those at the governance layer were held accountable to a constitution, a code of universal principles of human rights, and proper governance as aligned to Dharma Shastras. A small story. We know how Chanakya trained his student, a small shepherd boy, from the age of 10 and made him literally the king of 20 Hindu nations that spanned almost the entirety of the present day India. There was a time when Chandragupta, as the king, allowed some businessmen to evade taxes. Chanakya noted of it and put those businessmen into trial. Chandragupta was surprised and he revolted, asking his guru, the prime minister, Chanakya, why he was so cruel and so strict with the businessmen. Chanakya replied, and Chanakya warned Chandragupta that as the king, his real wealth was not money, but the people. Chanakya reminded Chandragupta of economic integrity and held him accountable and responsible for the tax evasion. As the king, even the Hindu kings, such as Chandragupta, would be receiving salaries. They couldn't draw money as per their whims and fancies. Even Hindu kings were held accountable to a constitution, a code of universal principles of human rights and governance, as per the Dharma Shastras, and the Guru held the entire system to integrity. Hindu philosophers were the first to discover the binary number system, algorithms, and Nyaya system of logic, which was a major influence on George Boole and Charles Babbage, the founders of modern computer science. Hinduism is responsible for the world's first holistic plant-based system of medicine, Ayurveda. Ancient Hindu civilizations also had a detailed knowledge of anatomy, embryology, digestion, metabolism, physiology, genetics, immunity, anesthesia, and cosmetic surgery. Hinduism gave yoga. Yoga is a comprehensive system of physical, mental, and spiritual practices designed to give human beings a superconscious breakthrough. Hindu civilization innovated the modern numerals and decimal system, the concept of zero, arithmetic, trigonometry, algebra, the basic elements of calculus, and accurately calculating the value of pi. In physics, our Hindu rishis conceived of the atom, the laws of motion, and quantum superposition thousands of years ago, in addition to accurately calculating the speed of light. In astronomy, the Hindu civilization developed an elaborate understanding of astronomy, including a heliocentric model of the solar system millennia before Galileo. The Hindu civilization also developed a theory of gravity, accurately calculating the Earth's orbit around the sun, and created precise star-planet charts thousands of years before European astronomers. Hindu civilization built elaborate, highly durable structures that exhibit fractal geometry, well-planned cities with complex drainage systems, and huge rock-cut temples carved from a single stone. The Hindu culture recognized 64 traditional arts, including dance, painting, singing, instrumental music, sculpture, and many other forms of expression. Each art form embodied aesthetic beauty while conveying deep spiritual truths and motifs. Hinduism contributed Sanskrit as the world's most oldest yet the most advanced language to the humanity. Sanskrit has a vast vocabulary and adaptable grammar so that words can express any nuance of an idea. Sanskrit possesses technical and philosophical terms known in any other language. Hindu literature consists of innumerable rich and diverse textual sources that cover all facets of human condition, including the world's longest and oldest work of epic poetry, the Mahabharata and Ramayana, carrying deep spiritual truths and leading us to liberation at the same time. Now, one of the biggest contribution and yet the most underrated contribution of the Hindu civilization, the Hindu nations, are the Hindu people, the Hindu Enlightenment ecosystem itself. The Hindu Enlightenment ecosystem survives in form of the Hindu community, the lifestyle of Hinduism, how Hindus still continue to live peacefully and continue to live the Hindu principles even today. And for this reason, reports of various governments and research organizations have shown that throughout the world, the Hindu people are the most peaceful people, the most contributing people with the least crime rate. For any given population, the number of people that resort to crimes, for example, is least amongst Hindus. This pattern is global and has been statistically validated in US, UK, India, and several parts of the world. Looking at these statistics from Pew Research For example, it is seen that the crime rate is least in the Hindu community. We can see that from the graph shown on the left side. And also the crime rate in Hindu community is decreasing. It is decreasing at the highest rate, one of the highest rate, more than 7%. Hinduism also has the least number of extremists and people with terrorist ideas. On 22nd March 2012, Pew Research Center carried a 50-state survey of US prisons, and it found that Hindus had the least religious extremist ideas amongst all prisoners in the US. And mind you, the number of prisoners in USA from Hindu origin is decreasing at one of the highest rates amongst all communities. In the graph alongside, we can see how the number of people with the extremist ideas is least in the Hindu community. Hindus have the lowest crime rate and the smallest prison population. Although 2% of the US population are Hindus, but the population of Hindus in the prison is much less than 2%. It is as less than 0.2%. It means crime rate of Hindus is 1/10 compared to others in the USA. Similarly, it is in the United Kingdom. Hindu population is 2% of the total population in the United Kingdom, but Hindus constitute only 0.35% of the prison population. This shows that Hindus have the least crime rate in the United Kingdom, and it is 1/4 of the crime rate seen in other communities. Similarly, in India, 80% of the Indian population is Hindu, but only 12% of the prison population is Hindu. This is as revealed in the statistics by the Indian government National Crime Records Bureau. This shows that the crime rate of Hindus in India is 1/10 to 100 of what it is seen in other communities. Hindus have been found to be least likely to be substance abusers by UK government statistics. As it can be seen, Hindus have the highest number of postgraduates. As we can see from the graph, 48%, which is the highest amongst all groups. The Hindu community has the higher education rate of all communities in the US. 96% of the Hindu community in the US have higher education. This is 2 times the national average. These highly educated Hindus become the backbone of the country's economy and social welfare system. Although the Hindu community constitutes only 2% of the US population, it contributes 7% of the doctors in the United States and 16% of the CEOs of all US companies. More than 7% of the doctors in the United States are Hindus, whereas Hindu constitute merely 2% of the total US population. More than 9% of the doctors in the United Kingdom are Hindus, whereas Hindus constitute merely 2% of the total UK population. This shows that the Hindu civilization contributes 4 to 5 times the number of doctors as compared to other communities. Hindus are amongst the second highest taxpayers and income group in the US, just behind the Jewish community. The Hindu community has the least diverse rate in amongst all communities in the US. Statistics and data and history clearly show that we Hindus have the least crime rate, have the least number of terrorists and extremists, are the most educated, the highest taxpayers, contribute the highest numbers of CEOs to the world, contribute the most educated, highly trained, most philanthropic doctors to the world, who charge the least amount of money, have the most stable families, and are amongst the happiest people of the world. Hindus do not terrorize. Hindus do not colonize. Hindus do not convert. Hindus only work hard, contribute, and live blissfully. Hindus have also been found to be the most righteous people on the planet Earth. And it is no wonder that people in various crises compelled to escape their war-torn countries with religious or political persecution have found place in Bharat and other Hindu nations. On 29 January 2019, as the UN observed the International Holocaust Remembrance Day, the president of Vinay Birth International, a Jewish organization, said that Hindu people have lived up to a tradition of a nation of righteousness when thousands of Jews found safety and were welcomed when they fled the Holocaust in Europe during the Second World War. This shows we Hindus have a lot to contribute. This shows we Hindus have done only good to the world. Statistics and the history, both past and present, has shown wherever we Hindus went, we brought peace, we brought economic prosperity, we brought safety, we brought joy, we brought happy families, we brought medical facilities, good health, we brought all the good that is there in the world. We brought the science of enlightenment. With all this, it is apparent that wherever Hindus decide to create Hindu nations, Hindu enlightenment ecosystems, Hindu communities, we will only contribute. We will not only enrich ourselves, we will enrich the world. However, when we fail to do this, what we have been going through due to various attacks is the Hindu Holocaust. Around 3200 BC, 56 Hindu nations spanned over 6 million kilometers of Asia and protected the civil, political, religious, and human rights of 10,000 indigenous spiritual minority communities. Over the period of time, all these 56 Hindu nations were wiped off from the planet Earth. Hinduism is Sanatana Dharma. Sanatana means eternal. However, it can be wiped from geography, as we can see in front of us. Now let us look back in time and see what happened. What was the consequence of collapse of these 56 Hindu nations? Until now, we saw what happens when Hindu nations are created, how there is economic prosperity, how there is food security, how there is happiness, protection of rights of people, how there is economic expansion, various aspects, how there is deep spiritual expansion of the people. Now, what are the consequences of collapse of Hindu nations? Let's see Gandhara, Afghanistan. Around 3162 BCE, Gandhari, the queen of Gandhara, played a major role in the war of Mahabharata. Gandhara at that time was a Mahajanapata, a great republic, a Hindu republic. Even during 285 BCE, Gandhara was part of the Hindu Mauryan Empire during the time of Chandragupta Empire. Even till 600 CE, the majority population in Afghanistan was Hindu. Taking Buddhism into account, it was much more than 50% of the population in Afghanistan was a Hindu population. By the year 2021, less than 0.3% of the population in Afghanistan is a Hindu population. Now let us look at Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is mentioned in the famous Puranic epic Ramayana, in the story of Bhagwan Rama, where around 5600 BC, Bhagwan Rama made a bridge to Lanka to rescue Sita Mata. In 271 BC, Lanka was a part of the Mauryan Empire. Much earlier, around 1041 CE, much later, in fact, in 1041 CE, Lanka became a part of the Chola Empire. Sri Lanka was a Hindu kingdom for several years. In the year 1014 CE, until the time of Chola Empire, almost 100% of the population in Sri Lanka was Hindu and Buddhist. By 1915, only 25% of the population in Sri Lanka was left Hindu. By the year 2012, less than 12% of the population in Sri Lanka was Hindu. By 2022, we do not know how much the number has reduced. Similar is the story of Pakistan, once the epicenter of the Hindu ecosphere. The war of Mahabharata happened around where present day Pakistan exists. The Kuru Vansha, the clan of the Kuru. If we trace back our Shastras, our scriptures, and read the names of the various cities mentioned, several of them are in present day Pakistan. The Hindu nations were so vast, existing from Parshu, a small village in Iran, all the way till the southern tip of the South Asian subcontinent up until Australia, were Hindu nations. Pakistan, the present day Pakistan, was in fact the center of this vast span of landmass, both in geographical terms and also in terms of the activity, the political activity, the Hindu population, and the core happenings of Hinduism. Pakistan, once upon a time, was a center of what was happening with the Hindu nations. As late as 1025 CE, the majority population in Pakistan was Hindu. By 1951, it reduced to 13%. By 1998, it dropped to 2%. Today, we do not know how many Hindus exist in Pakistan. Similarly, throughout years, the Hindu population fell as the Hindu nations collapsed in the present day Bangladesh. Once a part of Kashi and Magda Empire. As late as 1049 CE, when the present day Bangladesh was part of the Pala Empire, almost 100% of the population was a Hindu population. By 1300 CE, less than half of the population remained Hindu population, and the number of Hindus in Bangladesh started dropping. By the year 1901, only 1/3 of the population in Bangladesh was a Hindu population. By 1951, it reduced to almost 22%. By 2011, it dropped below 9%. Today, in 2022, we do not know how many Hindus continue to survive in Bangladesh. This massive extinction of the Hindu ecosystem was not an accident. It was a result of massive genocides, such as the 1971 Hindu genocide of Bangladesh, which killed 3 million people. Similar is the story of various parts, various states of the country of India, the present day India today, such as in Kashmir, how on 25th January 1998, there was a genocide in Kashmir, where before 1990, more than 160,000 Hindus lived in Kashmir. By the end of the exodus, less than 2,000 Hindus were left in Kashmir. Now, looking at some statistics, the consequence of the Hindu Holocaust, the consequence of the collapse of Hindu nations was the murder of more than 200 million, 20 crore Hindus through various atrocities, through various crimes against humanity. If we look at how these more than 200 million Hindus were killed, one was the wars, one was the invasions, such as the Hindu genocide of 1971, the partition of India 1947, the mob lynching riots of 1950, the suppression of the Hindu community, Hindu nations in 1857, the series of massacres during invasions from 1000 CE to 1525 CE. As per historical records in Tarikh-e-Farishte, a historical record from the Mughal Empire, 400 million Hindus were massacred during these invasions. Similarly, 200 million, 20 crore Hindus were killed in several man-made famines, as we just heard and saw the data a short while ago. Several severe human rights violations were happened during this era. Millions of Hindus were made slaves. Hindu women were made sex slaves. These are not just mere stories. There are historical records. And we can see some of them mentioned along with the year and the number of Hindus that were enslaved and made as slaves or sex slaves. The consequence of collapse of Hindu nations resulted in a massive destruction of the Hindu temples and the Hindu Enlightenment ecosystems. As we can see in front of us, how almost all Hindu temples were destroyed and converted to other structures. Throughout the years, even today, this destruction continues. Now let us understand, there are some 30 Christian countries in the world, which means Constitution of 30 countries of the world officially declares the religion of Christianity as their official state religion. Similarly, 40 countries declare Islam as their official state religion. 2 countries, Bhutan and Cambodia, declare Buddhism as a state religion. We must ask ourselves why there is no country on planet Earth which declares Hinduism as its state religion. Other than Kailasa, there is no Hindu nation which takes the responsibility of Hinduism as its state religion and protects Hinduism. Hindu Holocaust and the destruction of the Hindu nations has made Hindus orphans today. No nation other than Kailasa protects and stands for Hindu interests, Hindu political, religious, or human rights. Today, the need of the hour is revival of the Hindu nation Kailasa. No other nation other than Kailasa stands for Hindus. On 3rd December 2021, the permanent mission of Kailasa Nation to the United Nations addressed the United Nations. On behalf of all 2 billion Hindus, the Kailasa Nation presented to the United Nations about the persecution of Hindu Sampradayas in India during the 14th session of the OHCHR Forum on Minority Issues, Geneva, on 2nd and 3rd December. The United Nations accepted Kailasa Nation and allowed Kailasa to present its case after the presentation from the permanent mission from India to the United Nations, which focused on how Islamic and Christian minorities are safeguarded by the Indian government. Kailasa presented core Hindu concerns to the United Nations and provided an international arena to matters important to Hinduism, such as Kailasa took the matter of attack on and destruction of Hindu temples such as Sabrimala by anti-Hindu Hinduistic elements, genocide of Hindus in Kashmir, mob lynching of Hindu sadhus such as in Palghar. Kailasa took all these matters to the front stage in the international diplomacy and discussion in United Nations. Today, there is no other nation than Kailasa which takes serious efforts to take the matters of concern for Hindus in the international arena. Now it is time for us to support the Hindu nation, Kailasa. You can start with becoming a part of Kailasa as an e-citizen. Please sign up for Kailasa's e-passport. Apply now. The link is projected gov.srikailasha.org/. e-passport. E-Kailasa. Kailasa's e-passport gives people all over the world complete free access to benefits of all the knowledge and services Sanatana Hindu Dharma has to offer to the world via digital and online mediums. This knowledge and services encompasses the fields of living enlightenment, health, medicine, art, science, technology, social, judicial, political, and legal systems. Apply now. gov.srikailasa.org/e-passport. Now, let us go through a brief introduction to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, who is the reviver of Kailasa, the reviver of the only Hindu nation. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Jagat Guru Mahasanidhanam, His Divine Holiness, Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, is the reviver of Kailasa, a macrocosmic, ancient, enlightened Hindu civilizational nation. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva as per Hinduism, recognized by his predecessors who are enlightened masters and adepts. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has made the science of power manifestation, yoga, and temple-based universities a lifestyle for humanity. Before the year 1981, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was identified as the 1008th incarnation of Paramashiva by spiritual masters and enlightened masters of Hinduism. In the year 1981, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was initiated into Bala Sannyas and performed his first Chaturmasya at the age of 3. In the year 1988, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the future Guru Mahasanidhanam or Pontiff of Thondai Mandala Adinam, the oldest monastic university. On 24th May 1994, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as a successor of Arunachala Sarangapitham by Guru Parampara. In the year 1999, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded the mission Nithyananda Sangha to revive Kailasa internationally. In the year 1999, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was also coronated as a successor of Kashi Sarangapitham. On 4th November 2002, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism founded Adi Kailasa Sarangapitham. On 1st January 2004, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as successor of Bhagyanagara Shripura Sarangapitham. On 31st December 2004, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the incumbent emperor of Suryavamsa Surangi Samrajyam of Suryavamsa lineage. In the year 2007, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Adi Pallava Sarangapitham. In the same year, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was also declared as the Mahamandaleshwar of Mahanirvani Akhada. On 27th April 2012, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the 293rd Guru Mahasanidhanam of Madurai, Shamla Pitha, Sarvangapitham, the oldest Hindu papal state and monastic kingdom. In the year 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was officially coronated as the Mahamandaleshwar, Supreme Spiritual Head of Mahanirvani Akhada, the largest apex monastic order of Hinduism. In the year 2013, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was declared as the Acharya Mahamandaleshwar of Atal Akhada by Acharya Mahamandaleshwar Sukadevananda Ji. In the year 2014, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Tanjore Adinam. In the same year, he was also coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Tirvarur Adinam and as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Vedaranyam Adinam and as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Panchanadikulam Adinam. In the year 2015, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Dharma Mukti Swargapuram Adinam. He was also coronated as the Guru Mahasanidhanam of Adipitha Kuladamat, and he was declared and elected as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism by a congregation of over 1,000 spiritual leaders and pontiffs in the year 2015. With the revival of Kailasa, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, throughout the 28 years relentlessly provided several humanitarian services, including free vegetarian food, medical services, natural disaster relief, women empowerment initiatives, conflict resolution, peace initiatives, sustainable Hindu practices through various international agencies and bodies of Kailasa. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism authored more than 300 books and has written more than 10,000 articles in 3 languages, English, Tamil, and Sanskrit, which has been translated into 50 languages with over 1,000 titles. Over 20 million copies of these books, articles have been sold, read, and downloaded. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has established the largest Hindu library with over 1 million books, 1 million palm leaf scriptures, and over 20 million digital books. Throughout the years, under the guidance of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Kailasa's Jnanalaya has recovered more than 50,000 physical manuscripts of various sampradayas. Kailasa has collected and preserved 3 million books on Hinduism in ancient script such as Sanskrit, Tamil, Grantha, and other languages. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is revered as the most prolific and most viewed guru in the digital world. He is read and watched by over 1 billion followers of Hinduism. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has delivered over 10,000 hours of discourses, which have gathered over 1 billion views on social media. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is respected as commentator of all sacred scriptures such as Upanishads, Bhagavad Gita, Shiva Sutras, Yoga Sutras, Ashtavakra Gita, and Jain Sutras, etc. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is honored as leader of Hinduism, the most awarded internationally recognized Hindu leader. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is acclaimed as one of the top 100 spiritually influential living personalities by Watkins Mind, Body, Spirit magazine. The Sovereign Order of Kailasa, led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, and Nithyananda Order of Monks, Nuns, and Hindu diaspora, are working for global peace and to give superconscious breakthrough to humanity. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has established the largest Hindu university in the world with satellite campuses in 150 countries. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has established more than 1,000 Kailasa Enlightenment ecosystems. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is a founder and reviver of over 100 Sarvangapeethams. With this, we come to the end of this brief introduction to the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. A quick and important reminder, Kailasa's Paramashivoham Level 3. Paramashivoham is an immersive 21-day awakening event to teach you the science of manifesting the ultimate consciousness in you. This Paramashivoham manifests the deeper experiences of 25 states of consciousness, vertical time zones, power manifestation. Join us for this grand event by registering at kailasa.org/Paramashivoham. With this, we come to the end of this segment. Now, moving on to the next segment, the daily presidential address by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Upcoming, we have the alive satsang of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. So now let us prepare to receive our beloved Guru in the upcoming alive satsang. Please sit straight with your head, neck, and spine in a straight line. And let us chant the Mahavakya Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham to receive our beloved Guru in the upcoming alive satsang. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham. Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham.
Om Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva Samarambam Nithyanandeshwari Paramashiva Shakti Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I welcome you all with my love and respects. I welcome all the devotees, disciples, Samajis, Satsangis, Shri Mahants, Mahants, Tanedar Kotari, visitors, viewers, everyone sitting with us all over the world. I welcome all of you with my love and blessing. Paramashiva's message directly from Kailasa. Will persistence is the only qualification you need for Navakanda Yoga Samadhi. Listen. Will persistence. Understand? I was just sitting and meditating why some people get only Nirvikalpa Samadhi, why some people get Navakanda Yoga Samadhi. Because Navakanda Yoga Samadhi is higher than what you understand as Nirvikalpa Samadhi. See, Nirvikalpa Samadhi is highest Samadhi your consciousness can achieve. That is enough for enlightenment and to reach Kailasa, everything. But Navakanda Yoga Samadhi is something like that. Nirvikalpa Samadhi filling your whole body, even physical body. And the physical body entering into the consciousness of Nirvikalpa Samadhi and raising to the Mahakailasa's frequency with the body. So naturally, I should say that Navakanda Yoga Samadhi is like a going more than Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Listen. Many people achieve Nirvikalpa Samadhi and be satisfied with it. That is like tamarind fruit. The inside the fruit is ripe and it naturally gets detached from the shell. So after that, what happens to shell does not touch you. What happens to the shell does not touch the fruit. Same way, once your consciousness is ripe, what happens to the body does not touch you. Many people come and tell me why great beings like Ramana Maharishi, Ramakrishna, Ram Surat Kumar all had cancer. Listen, they did not have cancer. They did not leave the body due to cancer. After they left the body, cancer took it. They decided to leave the body. So something has to happen to the physical body to go back to the earth. So cancer took it back to earth. So be very clear. Listen. You need to elaborately understand this Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Navaganda Samadhi. Nirvikalpa Samadhi is your consciousness ripening. Navaganda Samadhi is even your body, along with your consciousness, raising to the higher worlds, higher time zones, higher energy fields. People who mastered Navaganda Samadhi only go to the higher worlds and bring the great gifts from the higher worlds and share it with us all, with the human level. So Navaganda Samadhi is something furthering of Nirvikalpa Samadhi. See, yesterday I was sitting in Samadhi, wanted answer for this question. To share with you all why some people achieve only Nirvikalpa Samadhi, why some go up to Navaganda Yoga Samadhi. What is the ingredient, unique, real principal ingredient for the alchemy of Navaganda Yoga Samadhi? Understand? Unique principle, primordial, or I should say that true, right, source reason for someone to travel to Navaganda Samadhi. How Paramashiva decides to give Navaganda Samadhi to some people, why he gives Navaganda Samadhi to some people. I saw clearly, the Paramashiva revealed the reason clearly. It is sheer will persistence. You may ask, oh, after Nirvikalpa Samadhi, naturally your will dissolves. Then how can you have a will persistence? Listen, will dissolves into Paramashiva's will does not mean your will disappears. Fish may be inside the ocean, but it gets the right to swim on the top or the bottom. It can go to the depth of the ocean or it can just swim on the shallow waters. The freedom exists even in Navaganda, in Nirvikalpa Samadhi. This may be new information for you, but that's the truth. Decision who moves towards Navaganda Samadhi is basically done by Paramashiva based on the will persistence of the individual. Listen carefully. for any normal human being. Nirvikalpa Samadhi itself is enough. But if you want to be a teacher, guru, an incarnation, to bring great things from vertical time zone, higher worlds, and share it with the world, then you need Navakanta Samadhi. Then naturally you need Navakanta Samadhi. So understand, you may ask why masters like Vadalur Vallalar, Ramalinga Swami took the body. He just used the Navakanta Samadhi and made the Divya Sarira and left. He just took the body and left to the higher worlds, Kailasa. But masters like Ramana Maharshi, Ramakrishna left the body here and went. Please be very clear. Never ever compare these great beings with your pea brain or rat brain, peanut sized brain. No, don't do that mess. Maybe Ramana Maharshi thought leaving his body here in the planet Earth will continue to help millions of seekers. I tell you, just Ramana Maharshi's body alone is such a powerful Jnanagarbha. Such powerful Jnanagarbha. Unimaginable Jnanagarbha. It made millions ripe into enlightenment, including me. If Ramana Maharshi has taken his body, like Vadalur Ramalinga Swami, surely it would have been a great loss. So they have their own reason. Same way Ramakrishna. Ramakrishna, by leaving his body and especially making it burnt, he gave the asti which is installed now in hundreds of places all over the world. So each one of them have their own reason. You understand now the science of Navakanta Samadhi. Fundamental qualification is will persistence. Listen. Shiva, Paramashiva tests only your will persistence. He doesn't see any other qualification. You can't earn these great samadhis by your own qualification. He only sees, if I give, will this guy be able to receive and live it? That's all he sees. He doesn't see any other quality. He tests your devotion. That's all, nothing else. Devotion means will persistence. That's all, nothing else. Somebody is putting the message here that seeing you being a guru and troubled by people all around, she doesn't want to be a guru. K.R. Pratibha Suryavansh. She just wants liberation once and for all. What a stupid mentality. If you really feel I am troubled by people, you should see how you can stand with me and solve the issue, keep the planet Earth right ecosystem for more gurus to happen. What a selfish, cheap persons you Hindus have become. You guys are so selfish. You think, let me get liberation somehow. And I don't need to care about keeping the ecosystem for more gurus to happen on the planet Earth. So you plan to lose your next generation. Unless you drop this mind, you will not get even Nirvikalpa Samadhi. It is absolute extreme cunningly strategizing even with Paramashiva. All of you understand. If you really feel I am troubled, you should decide to stand for me to keep the ecosystem of more gurus to come to planet Earth. Even in that situation, if you are thinking so selfishly, forget even about Nirvikalpa Samadhi. What? Navaganda Samadhi. Today, just before my session, some of the devotees were sharing their experience. I think Kailasa was talking. He was telling that he went to India and people were Tamil Nadu and people were telling in Tamil Nadu that Swamiji is gone and he is dead. Immediately he was worried about, who will then teach all these great sciences to human beings? And he was so proudly telling that he was feeling sad and missing me, and he was worried about who will teach all these great science to the world. As if when I am alive, you guys come and stood with me and fought for me. You are doing your life. I am just utility value for you. And even when we heard, as a rumor, somebody telling that Swamiji is gone and he is not there, he did not feel like, let me go to the ashram and see. First, confirm the news. Second, ask whether they need any help. Without Swamiji, how are they going to survive? How is that ecosystem which Swamiji left is going to be alive? He did not bother about all that. But one good thing, I have brought my Shiva Bhuta, Shiva Ganas from Kailasa to make my ecosystem. I am not dependent on you guys. But if you guys were having the right attitude, you will receive more. I'm just looking around and seeing what funny attitude people have. And how casually people utter the word which they really don't mean. Somebody was asking, is Navaganta Samadhi painful? No. Navaganta Samadhi is not painful. But going through the Navaganta Samadhi and bringing so many great things from Kailasa and giving it to all these people who are so cheap and selfish is painful. See, why anti-Hindu forces, Hindu Misia forces, why are they attacking me? So that seeing me, nobody else will become a Hindu guru. Nobody else will start practicing or preaching Hinduism. That is exactly this woman is falling for. This one putting the message, who puts the message, oh, seeing you being tortured, I don't want to be guru anymore. Just liberate. This is exactly the trap they were laying, and she is falling for it. I am making it very clear. Only those who are ready to sacrifice anything to keep the ecosystem, Hindu ecosystem alive on the planet Earth, will receive Nirvikalpa Samadhi or any Samadhi, higher enlightenment experience or the great powers of Paramashiva, everything. All selfish gang, you guys will get money. You guys will get only all the low, cheap things, silly things. Have money, have health, maybe little relationship, little good life. Just get lost with that. Don't expect Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Don't expect Navaganta Samadhi. Great things like Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Navaganta Samadhi are all for the spiritual warriors, people who are ready to sacrifice anything for spirituality. My disciples, listen, all my disciples, you will all be ready to sacrifice anything to keep the Hindu ecosystem, Kailasa ecosystem alive on the planet Earth. It is because of my ultimate tyaga, I am reviving with the grace of Paramashiva, this whole Kailasa ecosystem, for you all to enjoy it, experience it. That is why Paramashiva tests your ability to will persistence. Your will persistence is tested by Paramashiva. Kirti Punekar is messaging, I agree with you, Swamiji, with deep gratitude. Hold me anyhow. No, holding me is your responsibility. I will only test your will persistence. I'll give everything. Paramashiva has ultimate things, gifts of Kailasa. If you hold on, if you held intensely, if you are continuously holding, but holding me itself is your responsibility. Don't think I will hold you. No, not only I will not hold you, when you are holding, I will test your capacity to hold me, your capacity to be with me. I will only test it. Be very clear. Navaganda Yoga Samadhi can happen in you just by breathing along with me in same rhythm, same tune. Nothing more is needed. Sit with me, breathe in the same rhythm, same tune, same mode. The vibrations I am creating while I am inhaling and exhaling, it can just penetrate your inhaling and exhaling. Go and sit inside your consciousness and manifest as Navaganda Yoga Samadhi. That's it. Nothing else is needed. You don't need any other qualification other than your will persistence. That is why your will persistence is thoroughly tested. By your own effort, you can't get it. It has to be only given from guru to disciple, because I myself got it from my gurus. I did not make it on my own. Human beings can't make it on their own. It is that kind of a highest frequency, wavelength experience. It can only be given from the higher dimensions. Means from guru to disciple, you can never make it on your own. So the only qualification is will persistence. With will persistence, Let me define will persistence. Will persistence means your decision of wanting to have Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Navaganda Samadhi at any cost. What happens, when you consciously decide to have that kind of a will persistence, your breathing pattern itself changes for Navaganda Yoga Samadhi. Not just your lifestyle externally, even your internal breathing pattern changes for Navaganda Yoga Samadhi. Not just thinking pattern, breathing pattern, your digestion pattern, your fire agni inside. Everything changes. See, Guru gives Mahavakya only 9 times he utters. If you go to Svetaswara Upanishad and read, all of you Google and read. Tattvamasi Svetaketo Tattvamasi, 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 Tattvamasi. Only 9 times he utters totally. The Guru utters the word Tattvamasi only 9 times. Disciple achieved Nirvikalpa Samadhi. Why? Because the disciple had that kind of a will persistence. Holy Za Zinham is writing, my will persistence is for you to physically touch my third eye. Yes. Holy Za Zinham. It can happen. Just take sannyas and prove your will persistence. One day you will be called to Mahakailasa. Not only third eye, I'll touch all your chakras. You will experience awakening Kundalini Shakti. It is possible. Understand. Fundamentally, you do not need any other qualification other than will persistence. It is just will persistence all you need. I was looking into this whole Navaganda Yoga Samadhi because I wanted to give you guys the manual. I just wanted to deliver it like a manual. Do this, you will have Navaganda Samadhi. The first thing Paramashiva revealed is will persistence. There's a beautiful story. One Nayanar, Ilayangudimara Nayanar, he took the oath to Paramashiva that anyone with Tirumula Varkavedam, with your Sarubhya, Swarupa, I will consider them as you and give Anna, means Naivedya, food, and serve. This is my life. He took this as his lifetime spiritual practice. Naturally, Paramashiva wants to test his will persistence. He went on depleting his wealth. Actually, I am telling you, anyone does Annadan, I give 100% guarantee. You will be showered with wealth. I am telling you, from not just my personal experience, I have seen thousands and thousands of evidences. You start doing Annadan in your temple will flourish like anything. You start doing Annadan even in your own house. Any guest comes, any Shiva devotee, any devotee comes, any guest comes, start giving them food, you will see how your life flourishes, showered with wealth. But strangely, Paramashiva depletes his wealth just to test his will persistence. Finally, it reached a state where he did not have anything in the house. That night, even he did not have food for himself or his wife. Everything is lost. And nobody is even ready to give any loan or debt because the whole town he has borrowed and spent on feeding Shiva's devotees. As Shiva Swarupa. That night, Paramashiva comes. Heavy rain. He made sure the situation, the whole atmosphere is perfect to test the will persistence. Heavy rain. Paramashiva comes as an old sannyasi and says, Bhagavati Bhikshandehi. This Nayanar, the great devotee, just jumped out of his bed. I should say out of his sleep. He was almost fainted due to hunger and dehydration. He just jumped out. And said, Oh Bhagavan, please come, sit. I will arrange something for you to eat. Just please sit. He rushes to the wife and asks, Is there anything? Wife is another extreme devotee. She is such a strength and support for him. If somebody else means they would have killed him first. You fellow, neither you had food nor I had food, and you are coming and asking me now, where is the food for this sadhu? She says, no, nothing is in the house. He asks, what shall we do? She says, I give you one idea. Today, we sowed the seed in our land, small land we have, the remaining. Due to this rain, all that seed will be floating. You go and collect that paddy and bring. I'll cook that and give. We can feed him. He runs. You guys understand, in the rain, all the seed, rice, the paddy they sow, I don't know the English word, seed nell, they have sown, it will naturally float during the heavy rains. The moment he got the idea from the wife, he runs, collects all that and brings it in a basket. She cleans that and removes that covering and gets the rice out of it, cooks, and everything is ready. They go out and look for that sadhu who came. He was not there. Both of them start crying. Oh Bhagavan, because we got a little delayed. You went away. Please forgive Mahadeva. When they were crying, Bhagavan Mahadeva Paramashiva appeared. Even to narrate this story, I have so much goosebump. because I can see the whole situation right now. Paramashiva appeared and gave him Kailasa. Not just Nirvikalpa Samadhi, Navaganda Samadhi. He took both of them, husband and wife, with body to Kailasa. He just airlifted them. They did not leave the body back. They have not done any great unclutching, power manifesting spiritual practice in their life. Just will persistence. Anyone I see in your form who wears Bhasma and Rudraksha, Tirumula Varkaveda, good or bad, I don't care. I am going to feed them as you. That will persistence, Paramashiva tested. When they succeeded in that will persistence, not only he gave them Nirvikalpa Samadhi, he gave them Navaganda Samadhi and Divya Sarira. Straight he took them to Kailasa, Kailasa. And he came along with wife. See, he is from the Saiva community, the community in which I was born and brought up. And in that community, there is a tradition. If a male goes and invites the family for marriage, only the male from that house will come. If a female goes and invites, only the female from that house will come. Only if the husband and wife both go and invite, both will come. That is the family tradition. So if you want, see, if you are like a related, listen carefully. You need to understand the cultural background. In a Saiva family, wife, when she wants to invite their family people, she wants only the female members of their family to come, her family to come. Only she will go alone and invite them. If she wants the whole family, husband and wife both should come. Husband and wife both should go and invite, and only then the other side, husband and wife both will come for the function. Here, because husband and wife both need to be taken to Kailasa, both Paramashiva and Parvati, both of them come. Samba Parameshwara, Sa Amba Parameshwara, Amba Sameda Parameshwara is coming. He came and received them and took them. See, each of these Nayanmar's history, the way they had liberation, the minute details are recorded. Minute details recorded. If you read them, you will understand the whole science of Kailasa culture. If the wife was not supporting for Ilayangudi Maranar, he withstood even the harassments of the wife and continued to succeed. Paramashiva would have come alone and taken him, that's all. But both of them were so strong. In their will persistence, Paramashiva came with Devi and took both of them to Kailasa. Somebody, Q alchemist, is messaging, please bring me to Kailasa, Swamiji, please teleport me. First put your original photo and your original name, reveal your original identity, then ask for the boons. Social media team, please remove all those who have not put their original photo and original name from the YouTube membership. Listen. Hiranmayi is asking Swamiji where to get Nayanmar stories. You can just Google 63 Nayanmars. You will get the whole lot of material, lot of versions of stories will appear. If you want to precisely read, there is a book called Periya Puranam by Ramakrishna Math. In English, I'll recommend that book is the best book in English. In Tamil, there are hundreds of beautiful commentaries. Periya Puranam is a book written by Sekkilar. In English, Ramakrishna Math has published a very beautiful translation, very authentic translation. You can read Ramakrishna Math's Periya Puranam. Ramakrishna Math Mylapore publication. That's the best I will recommend in English. In Tamil, there is a lot of translations. Or commentaries. Tamil, lot is available. You can just Google, you will get the story in internet itself, all the 64 Nayanmar's history. If you read the details, you will understand the culture of Kailasa. I am not saying you should not do yoga, you should not do Nirvikalpa Samadhi, don't practice unclenching. No, I am not saying that. Anything you take it up with the will persistence. Will persistence. Saurav Aneja is asking, Swamiji, do will persistence and devotion go hand in hand? Will persistence is the only devotion. Without will persistence, whatever you call as devotion is just simple, cunning, exploitive, strategic word you use. Will persistence is only devotion. Nothing else is devotion. Somebody, Sir Quantic, is saying, I think you not need put photo for do healing and help. No, I don't need you here. If you are not able to put the original photo, please don't be in the group. Your original photo and original name is needed. If you can't put, please get out of the group. Sir Quantic, please leave the group now. Ketan Gaboyd is asking, Swamiji, how do I build the best and strongest will persistence that you would approve of? Ketan Gaboyd, listen carefully. Take up any one activity, maybe like Nithyananda Yoga, or unclutching, or enriching. Any one activity. Decide with will persistence, you will dedicate your life to that. You will see all kinds of your internal, external conflicts will erupt, and when you win all this, your will persistence will naturally ripe into Nirvikalpa Samadhi and Navaganda Samadhi. Akshay Krishnagata is asking, is Ashwathaman still alive? தெரிஞ்சு என்ன பண்ண போற? பரமசிவன் நான் உயிரோடு இருக்கேன், என் கூட வாழ்ந்தே உன் வாழ்க்கையை மேம்படுத்தி நல்ல கதிக்கு போக முடியல, ஓடி போயிட்ட. இப்ப அஸ்வத்தாம உயிரோடு இருக்காரா இல்லையான்னு தெரிஞ்சு என்ன பண்ண போற? கேஷுவலா எதையாவது கேட்டு வைக்கிறது. She's asking whether Ashwatthama is still alive or not. I told her, she came to become Adinavasi and ran away. I am here Paramashiva is alive, and you are not able to use Paramashiva who is still alive and in the body, and you ran away. What are you going to do, knowing whether Ashwatthama is alive or not? Are you going to go and search and go and fall at his feet and ask him, please teach me Brahmastra and please teach me whatever you learned from Dronacharya, your father? You are going to learn and use it or what? Some casual conversation. Because the computer is there, just type. Don't laugh. Nothing to laugh here. I'm not asking you, I'm not answering you jovially. When time comes, you will understand the mess you made with your life, with your decisions. But that will be too late for you.
ಜನುಮವು ನಿನ್ನಯ ದರ್ಶನದಿ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಶಿವನಾಗಿ ಗುರುವಾಗಿ ಸದ್ಗತಿಯನ್ನು ಜಗಕ್ಕೆಲ್ಲ ಕೊಡುತ್ತಿರುವೆ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದನೇ ನೀ ಶಿವನಾಗಿ ಗುರುವಾಗಿ ಸದ್ಗತಿಯನ್ನು
Ma yoga priya anyan zao. Don't worry about your job, manager, anything. I'll make everything smooth for your Paramashivoham. Don't worry.
ಶಿವಂ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಶಿವಂ ನಿತ್ಯ ಶಿವಂ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಶಿವಂ ಜಪವನ್ನು ಮಾಡಲು ವರವನ್ನು ನೀಡಿ ನೀನು ಅನುಗ್ರಹ ಸುರಿವೆ ನಿತ್ಯನೇ ನೀ ಭವರೋಗವ ತಡೆದು ಭಾವದ ಚಿಂತೆಯೆಲ್ಲ ತೊಳೆದು ಕರ್ಮ ಸಂಸ್ಕಾರಗಳೆಲ್ಲ ಅಳಿಸಿ ಹೊಸ ಜೀವನ ಕೊಡುವೆ ಪಾವನವೇ ನಾಡಿದು ನಿನ್ನ ಪಾದಗಳ ಸ್ಪರ್ಶದಿ ಪಾವನವೇ ಬೀಡಿದು ನಿನ್ನ ಕಲ್ಪತರು ದರ್ಶನದಿ ಶರಣಂಬನು ನಿತ್ಯೇಶನೇ ನಿನ್ನ ಶರಣಂಬನು ಆನಂದನೇ ಶರಣಂಬನು ನಿತ್ಯೇಶನೇ ನಿನ್ನ ಶರಣಂಬನು ಆನಂದನೇ ಶಿವಂ ನಿತ್ಯಾನಂದ ಶಿವಂ ನಿತ್ಯ ಶಿವಂ सर्वं नित्यं मन्त्रं नित्यं यन्त्रं नित्यं तन्त्रं नित्यं सर्वम् यदानन्दरूपं प्रकाशस्वरूपं विरष्टप्रपञ्चं परिच्छेदहीनम् अहं ब्रह्मवृत्त्येकगम्यं तुरीयं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि यदानन्दरूपं प्रकाशस्वरूपं विरष्टप्रपञ्चं परिच्छेदहीनम् अहं ब्रह्मवृत्त्येकगम्यं तुरीयं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि नित्यं मन्त्रं नित्यं यन्त्रं नित्यं तन्त्रं नित्यं सर्वं नित्यं मन्त्रं नित्यं यन्त्रं नित्यं तन्त्रं नित्यं सर्वम् यदा ज्ञानतो याति विश्वं समस्तं विनष्टं च सद्यो यदात्मप्रबोधे मनोवागतीतं विशुद्धं विमुक्तं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि यदा ज्ञानतो याति विश्वं समस्तं विनष्टं च सद्यो यदात्मप्रबोधे मनोवागतीतं विशुद्धं विमुक्तं परं ब्रह्म नित्यं तदेवाहमस्मि नित्यं मन्त्रं नित्यं यन्त्रं नित्यं तन्त्रं नित्यं सर्वं नित्यं मन्त्रं नित्यं यन्त्रं नित्यं तन्त्रं नित्यं सर्वम् निषेधे कृते नेति नेतीति वाक्ये समाधिस्थितानां
Oh, listen. The 64 forms of Paramashiva, 64 manifestations of Paramashiva, 64 Leelas of Paramashiva in Thiruvilayadar Puranam, Shivalila Arnavam, and 63 Nayanmars, Periya Puranam. All these are very closely connected. With the subject Navaganda Samadhi, Navaganda Yoga Samadhi. So I am trying to unravel, open up, one by one, one by one, one by one. Veda Prakasha, somebody, Veda Prakasha is messaging. Veda Prakasha is messaging. Swamiji, I also left the Sangha. What is the Prayaschitta for me? I also left the Sangha due to incompletions. What is the Prayaschitta for me? The only Prayaschitta, go back to Bididi, Adi Kailasa, and whatever your incompletion, work and complete, fix it. Fix your inner space. Changing the place will not work. Only fixing the space will work. I kept the Adi Kailasa such a way perfectly to train you all. Listen, that's a very powerful spiritual training ground, and that is the spiritual incubator, and that Adi Kailasa will test your will persistence completely. If you pass Adi Kailasa, if you prove your will persistence in Adi Kailasa, you will directly reach Maha Kailasa. All your will persistence will be tested. That is the purpose for which Adi Kailasa was created. Everyone is asking, why should we be under administrators? Some administration. Hey, that is the way. You need to have your training and your will persistence need to be tested. That's all. It's very easy to live under me and very blissful to live around me. But first, let your will persistence be tested. In Veda Prakash, you can see your life. Whatever was the reason you left Adi Kailash, for what you went out, you will never get it, I can guarantee. For whatever reason you leave Guru, you will lose Guru, and for what you are searching, both you will lose. Whatever reason you are with Guru, you will get, and Guru, both. If you are with Guru for something, and you will get that something what you want, and you will get the Guru, both. If you leave the Guru for anything, you will lose the Guru, and what far you went out, that also will not be there. Will never be there. That's the way life works, because you went out due to the incompletion. That is going to haunt you forever, wherever you go. Changing the place will not work. Changing the space is going to work. Veda Prakasha, this is the prayaschitta, and I know for sure you will not do it. But I am giving this prayaschitta for so many others who are listening. So others may do it. For their sake, I am giving. And I know for sure you will not do it.
Takadimi takajunu nadaraja, talang takadimi nadaraja, dom dom takadimi nadaraja, taka 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 nadaraja, takadimi takajunu nadaraja, talang takadimi nadaraja, dom dom takadimi nadaraja, dom takita dom takita takadimita, dom takita dom takita takadimita, takita dom takita dom takadimi takita dom takita dom takadimi dom takita dom takita takadimi dom takita dom takita takadimita.
ஆடுகின்றான் அவன் கூத்தனாக திருப்பாதம் தூக்கி மறையோதுகின்றான் பிறைசூடி அந்தணரின் பாடலுக்கு தினம் ஆடுகின்றான் அவன் கூத்தனாக திருப்பாதம் தூக்கி மறையோதுகின்றான் பிறைசூடி அந்தணரின் பாடலுக்கு என்று இயலிசை நாடகமாய் முத்தமிழ் இயற்றிய நாயகனே தகதிமி தாளமொடு தில்லையில் ஆடிடும் தாண்டவனே இன்மைக்கும் ஈரேழு பிறவிக்கும் துயர் நீக்க பிறந்தோடி வருகின்ற யமயாலும் நடராஜா வயமாகி மயமாகி வலியாகி ஒலியாகி சித்தத்துள் முக்தி தர நித்யனாய் வந்தவா நமச்சிவாய வாழ்க வாழ்க நாதன் தாழ் வாழ்க வாழ்க இமை பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ் வாழ்க நமசிவாய வாழ்க வாழ்க நாதன் தாழ் வாழ்க வாழ்க இமை பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ் வாழ்க அண்டாண்டம் பிண்டாண்டம் அதில் ஆடிய கூத்தணி நாடலை பார்த்திடவே ஆண்டாண்டு காலமொடு மானிட கூட்டமும் ஏங்கியதே ஆடுகின்றான் ஒரு பாதம் தூக்கி அவன் கூத்தனாக மறையோதுகின்றான் பிறைசூடி அந்தணரின் பாடலுக்கு திரணனா திரணனா திரணா திரணா திரணனா திரணனா திரணா திரணா சனி சரி சனி சரி சனி சரி சனி சரி சரி மபனி சனி பப மரி சனி சரி சனி சரி சனி சரி சனி சரி சரி மபனி சனி பப மரி சனி திரணா 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 tajom takida takadimi tajom takida takadimi tajom takida takadimi tajom takida takadimi சிதம்பர திரு சபையில் நயமுடன் ஆடிடும் ஆடிடும் நர்த்தனனே உமையாம்பிகை நாயகனே உன்னை பாடிட வந்தேனே நால்வர் புகழ் பாடும் ஆடிய பாதத்தை நான் தொழ வேண்டும் அடியார்க்கும் அடியோனே அண்ட சராசரனே உடுக்கை ஒளிதனிலே இருமொழியை தந்திட்ட தாண்டவனே முதல் மொழி தமிழ் மொழியாய் மறுபுறம் வடமொழி உயிர் மொழியாய் மதி மாறாமல் மனம் போகாமல் விதி சேராமல் உன்னை பற்றிடுவேன் 64 கலை கட்டிடவே அருள் புரிந்திடு எம் அம்பல தரசே அச்சை அல்ல நீ அச்சம் நீக்கவே அண்டம் வந்த என் அம்பலவாணனே நமச்சிவாய வாழ்க வாழ்க நாதன் தாழ் வாழ்க வாழ்க இமை பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ் வாழ்க நமசிவாய வாழ்க வாழ்க நாதன் தாழ் வாழ்க வாழ்க இமை பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ் வாழ்க ஆடுகின்றான் அவன் கூத்தனாக திருப்பாதம் தூக்கி மறையோதுகின்றான் திரைசூடி அந்தனரின் பாடலுக்கு தினம் ஆடுகின்றான் ஒரு பாதம் தூக்கி அவன் கூத்தனாக மறையோதுகின்றான் திரைசூடி அந்தனரின் பாடலுக்கு இயலிசை நாடகமாய் முத்தமிழ் இயற்றிய நாயகனே தட்டதிமி தாளமோடு இல்லையில் ஆடிடும் தாண்டவனே பயமாகி மயமாகி வலியாகி ஒலியாகி சித்தத்துள் முக்தி தர நித்யனாய் வந்தவா நமச்சிவாய வாழ்க வாழ்க நாதன் தாழ் வாழ்க வாழ்க இமை பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ் வாழ்க நமசிவாய வாழ்க வாழ்க நாதன் தாழ் வாழ்க வாழ்க இமை பொழுதும் என் நெஞ்சில் நீங்காதான் தாழ் வாழ்க நமசிவாய வாழ்க हर बोल शिव शंभु नित्यानंद परमशिव शंभु हर बोल शिव शंभु कैलाश राज शिव शंभु चल रहा था मैं अकेला तेरे ही एक आंसू में सोना सा मेरा समंदर तेरी ही एक प्यासू में बारिशे बन के मिला जो तुझ में ही मैं घुल गया नदिया के जैसे तू आया तुझ में ही मैं खो गया भोर के हर तारे सा जगमग मुझे तू कर गया द्वारे खोले तूने तेरे जग ये सारा मिल गया नित्यानंदा शंभु शंकर बन के तू जो आ गया थामे तेरे हाथों को जो तुझसे ही मैं मिल गया तुझे से ही सारी करूं रूठा तुझ पे ही मैं करूं तेरे खानों पे चढ़ के जग ये सारा मैंने हारा करूं हंसना भी तेरे संग करूं रोना भी तेरे संग ही करूं मोड़ी सी तेरी हिण आंखों में खुद को ही देखा करूं मेरी हर सांस में है तू घन घन में बसा है तू मेरी हर सांस में है तू रग रग में जला है तू सांस मेरी जो चली है बोलती है ये तो सुन ले रे हर बोल शिव शंभु नित्यानंद परमशिव शंभु हर बोल शिव शंभु कैलाश राज शिव शंभु हर बोल शिव शंभु नित्यानंद परमशिव शंभु हर बोल शिव शंभु कैलाश राज शिव शंभु
सदा शिवा तुम नित्यानंदा
बोलो नित्या 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 नित्यानंदा
मुक्ति प्रदायक नित्यानंदा
बोलो नित्या 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 नित्यानंदा
सदा शिवा तुम नित्यानंदा मुक्ति प्रदायक नित्यानंदा तीनों लोक में गूंजती है ऐसी है नाद तेरी डमरू की माया जाल से जगाने
ये डमरू बाजेगा
जाल से जगाने
ये डमरू बाजेगा डम 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 डमरू ये डमरू बाजेगा डम 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 डमरू ये डमरू बाजेगा
करुणामया तुम नित्यानंदा
बोलो नित्या 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 नित्यानंदा
भगवान स्वयं तू नित्यानंदा
बोलो नित्या 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 नित्यानंदा
करुणामया तुम नित्यानंदा भगवान स्वयं तू नित्यानंदा मानव रूप धारण करके प्रेम कृपा तूने बरसाई तेरी प्रेम की सावन में ये संसार नाचेगा प्रेम की सावन में ये संसार नाचेगा बोलो नित्या 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 नित्यानंदा 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 बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्या नित्यानंदा बोलो नित्यानंदा नित्या नित्यानंदा बोलो नित्या 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 नित्यानंदा बोलो नित्या 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 नित्यानंदा Samaga ma pani bagare samaga ma pa 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 maga ma pa pa ni 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 ma pani pani sa 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 pa ma pa maga maga ma ga ni ni sa गुरुदेवा नित्यानंदा परमहंसा नित्यानंदा 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 You taught me completion, you give me initiation. You taught me completion, you gave me initiation. You taught me completion, you gave me initiation. Taram daram 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 Just being in your presence burnt away all the karmas and the Shivoham experience relieved us from the bondages of Janma. I surrender Nithyananda, Sharanam Sharanam Nithyananda. I surrender Nithyananda, Sharanam Sharanam Nityananda, I surrender Nityananda, Sharanam Sharanam Nityananda, I surrender Nityananda, Sharanam Sharanam Nityananda. Taram daram 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 daram. Gurudeva Nityananda, Paramahamsa Nityananda, 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 Gurudeva Nityananda, Paramahamsa Nityananda. Pani samaga ma pani pagari samaga ma pa 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 ma ga ma pa pa ni 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 ma pani pani sa 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 pa ma pa ma ga ma ga ma ga ri ni sa. Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, 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 Shiva Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, 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 Shiva Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, 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 Shiva Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, 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 Shiva Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, Shiva Shivoham, 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 Nityanandoham, 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 Nityanandam.
Harilin Gaumas is messaging. This webinar is more enlightening and exciting than football season in US. Hey, this webinar is headball program. Understand? Where your ego heads roll. How in the football season footballs roll, this webinar is headballs roll. Your ego, which is a headball, that rolls here. So understand, this will naturally be higher, enlightening, entertaining, entraining, all three. Entraining, entertaining, and enlightening. Because this is headball season, not football season.
हर 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 महादेवा शिव 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 सदा शिवा हर 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 महादेवा शिव 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 सदा शिवा ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय हर 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 महादेवा शिव 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 सदा शिवा काला हल शिव काल नेत्र हर काला मुख शिव ओम काला हल शिव काल नेत्र हर काला मुख शिव ओम कपाल कालधरं देवं नित्यानंदा ओम कपाल कालधरं देवं नित्यानंदा ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय हर 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 महादेवा शिव 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 सदा शिवा बम 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 भोलानाथ हर शिव बल शिव ओम डम 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 डमरुगनाथ नित्यानंद ओम बम 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 भोलानाथ हर शिव बल शिव ओम डम 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 डमरुगनाथ नित्यानंद ओम व्योमकेश शिव डमरुगेश हर मृत्युंजय हर ओम व्योमकेश शिव डमरुगेश हर मृत्युंजय हर ओम त्रिकालेश्वर भक्त मनोहर नित्यानंद ओम त्रिकालेश्वर भक्त मनोहर नित्यानंद ओम ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय ओम नमो नित्यानंदाय हर 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 महादेवा शिव 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 सदा शिवा
Om, Om. Sri Vedatmananda is writing, here we lose one head ego and gain 25 heads, Paramashiva himself. That is true. You got it. You said it. So, still I have not completed all the 64 manifestations of Paramashiva. I have done only 21. So I have to come for maybe one more or 2 more days of webinar. I will come again tomorrow the same time, Indian Standard Time. We'll keep us 10 o'clock Indian Standard Time. Maybe I'll come for 1 or 2 more sessions to completely introduce all the 64 forms. We have done only 21 till now. And today, even to introduce this Navaganda Yoga Samadhi, it took time. I'll come again for 1 or 2 more days of webinar, extension of this same webinar, because I really want to complete all the 64 manifestations of Paramashiva. So with this, I bless you all. Let's all radiate with integrity, authenticity, responsibility, enriching, causing, living Shuddhatvaita Saivam, Paramatvaita Saivam, the state, space, powers, being, super consciousness and Kailasa and Maha Kailasa Paramashiva. Paramashivoham, Om Nithyananda Paramashivoham, the eternal bliss, Nithyananda. Thank you. Be blissful.